welcome to The Acorn, the podcast that drops a little bit of psychoeducation so you can gain a better understanding of the therapy world and yourself. So without further ado, let's jump into our episode. Hello, welcome to Season 3, Episode 3 of The Acorn. Today we're going to be talking about procrastination. Specifically, if you procrastinate, this might be why. Have you ever found yourself scrolling on your phone, cleaning your kitchen, or suddenly deciding to reorganize your desk instead of doing the task you actually need to do? You, my dear, might be procrastinating. And here's the truth. Procrastination is often about emotional regulation or distress. So when you're facing a task that might feel overwhelming, boring, stressful, or tied to fear, like the fear of failure or the fear of not doing it perfectly, of course your brain is going to try to protect you from that discomfort and that dysregulation. Now, one of the easiest ways that our brain does that is to help us by avoiding the task altogether. So, instead of starting the report, studying for the exam, or sending that difficult email, you might find yourself shifting to something that feels easier or immediately more rewarding. In the short term, avoiding the task gives you a sense of relief, but in the long term, the stress often grows. What's important to understand is that procrastination is less about managing your time and more about managing your emotions. A helpful strategy is to lower the entry point of the task. So instead of telling yourself that you need to finish everything, aim to start very small. For example, you work on it for just 5 minutes, or you write one paragraph, or you open up the document and you outline one idea. See, as soon as you reduce the pressure to be perfect and just focus on starting, your brain often realizes that the task is not as threatening as it first seemed. So the next time you catch yourself procrastinating, please try and be curious. Ask yourself, what feeling am I trying to avoid right now? On my website, I'm going to drop a feelings wheel to make this easier for you. Remember, procrastination is not a character flaw. It's simply a signal about the task that feels difficult or it might feel overwhelming. However, with some self-compassion and intentional small steps, you can move right through it. Now, as we close out this episode and before you tackle a new task, I know you can do it, please take a moment in your day to remind yourself to pause, breathe, hope, and heal. Take care. Well, this has been another episode of The Acorn. Remember, the content in these podcast episodes are for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. Disclaimer. Anything said in this podcast should not be considered as treatment, professional consultation, advice, clinical instruction or assessment, or any other mental health replacement. Listening to this podcast does not create a therapist-client relationship between you and the podcast host. Always seek the advice of your own mental health provider regarding any questions or concerns you may have about your mental health needs. Also, if you need immediate help, contact your mental health provider or call 911. Take care.